This video is meant to help you understand how to make a ukulele play-along video using the app Luma Fusion, which is located right here. Now I do have a couple other tools. iCab Mobile helps me with some things, but I'm going to try to do this video without iCab Mobile. iCab Mobile has some features that you can use to do some things that I don't want to really announce. I don't want them to get in trouble, but it's very powerful. And also this app, AnyFont. When I've downloaded the Chordette app, you can take fonts and install them in AnyFont, and then what you can do is it actually installs a profile on your iPad that allows it to run those fonts as a system font. So I can use ukulele fonts, and that's really important. If you don't have that, you can't do the ukulele play-alongs in this way. Now, what makes this video different than Joe Reese's video is, number one, I'm doing everything on the iPad, and then number two, it's Dr. Reese uses captures of a ukulele font off of like Pages or whatever and embeds those into an iMovie. Also uses already made lyric files, and I make them from scratch, and so I do everything in Luma Fusion at once. So I'm going to show you how I do that. So first thing you need to do is you need to find a song that you want to do, and I'm just going to go up here and I'm going to search for The Twist. The Twist. There we go. And there's The Twist by Chubby Checker, and that's what we're going to work on today. It's a 3-chord song, so I'm probably just going to use this one here. It says with the lyrics, even though that really doesn't matter to me. Now again, some people are asking about copyright, and what happens right now is that if you upload a song to YouTube that's under copyright, YouTube has worked it out so that the owner of the copyright gets any monetization from your video, which is awesome. That's the way it should be. Those of us that are making ukulele videos aren't selling them. We're not trying to find a way to make money off of them. We're doing it so that our own kids and ukulele groups and other people that maybe don't have a ukulele group around them can play songs that they love and know, and maybe learn some songs that they don't know yet. So with The Twist, here it is. And it's got an ad. That's monetization. That's okay. So there's The Twist. Now, I've already checked this out, but The Twist is written in the key of E, which is an absolutely horrendous key for ukulele. So I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and I'm going to select this address. Now, I'm just using iCab Mobile. I could use just about anything. And I'm just trying to select it all. I'm going to say select all, and I'm going to copy it. Then I'm going to go to a new place. I'm going to go to keepvid.com. Keepvid has been around for a long time. Put this in here and put paste, and then say download. And what it's going to do is it's going to go out there and it's going to give me options to download. Really, I'm just looking for the audio file, but I want this one, the 480 MP4. I'm going to download that. And it's going to give me an option to download that, so I'm going to say download. And you might say, where did it go? Well, in iCab Mobile, it's going to be saved right here, The Twist, Chubby Checker with lyrics. So I'm going to use that, but before I do that, I also want to find a couple other resources. So I'm going to search. So what I've decided is I want to use a twisted ice cream cone as my backdrop for this. So I'm going to search for, I'm going to go to images, and I'm just going to find an image of twisted cones that looks nice, and I don't really like any of these yet. I'll just keep looking until I find a set of twisted cones. This one right here looks really nice. And I'm just going to go down here and I'll hold it until I can download it. I'm going to download that. And the other thing that I want is a little moving dot that shows people what chord to play. And typically I would try to use an emoji, but I can also use images. And I just want to look for a twisted cone, PNG, is going to often have a transparent background. So like this one here may have a transparent background. This one down here looks pretty good. And if it actually comes up here, and I'm waiting for it to pop up, still not fully downloaded. That's really a big file off in Pinterest. I don't want that. That's that huge. I'll look again for a twisted ice cream cone I'll just do it this way, cone PNG, like this. I'll see if I can come up with a better one to use. Looking for a twisted cone because we're talking about the twist. I'll show some more. If I go too far, I'll lose what are transparent PNGs. I don't really like that cone. Let's see if this one loads again. I'll just try it one more time. I'm going to look at the file itself and see if that loads. It's not coming up as transparent though, and again, yeah, I can edit that out, but I really don't want that. I'm going to show you one other thing that you can do. If you're not coming up with good images, and this one uses DuckDuckGo, you can also go to google.com. And again, Google has different search algorithms, but it stores what you're searching, even if it doesn't know who you are or where you're at. And we're going to look for twisted ice cream cone, twisted cone PNG. Let's see what Google comes up with. Pop up images. And here's one right here that's different than the other one. And you see all the little dots there? I don't know if you can see that. But there's little like checkerboard dots that tells me that it's a transparent PNG. And I want to save the photo again to my downloads. So if I go over here to my downloads, you'll see that I have Chocolate Software's Ice Cream Cone, Twist and Twist, and the Chubby Checker. Now, if you remember, the Chubby Checker song is in a key that's wrong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open that file in another app, and the app that I'm going to open it in is Twisted Wave. And Twisted Wave is available on Mac or PC for paid. It's also available on Chromebook for free, although if you buy a subscription or something, you get some more features. But I just highlighted that whole song. I'm going to go to settings here. I'm going to change pitch and speed, and I'm going to make it go 100 cents sharp, which is a half step. And here's a preview. If I play along, it's a little loud, right? I'll turn that down. Now it's in the key of F. There's an F. B flat. F. C7. B flat stop. F. So that's the key that I need for that song. So I'm going to select apply, and it's going to apply that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out arrow, and I'm going to send that in, open in, and send that to Luma Fusion. Now there's one more thing that I have to do with Luma Fusion, is I also have to go back to iCab Mobile and send that file to Luma Fusion. Went too far. And I have to send this transparent PNG to Luma Fusion. And let me find it. There's Luma Fusion right there. So now I have everything that I need for my sources, and I can start building the file. So I'm going to go up here. If you want to learn how to use Luma Fusion, that's going to be a whole different thing. But I'm going to do a plus sign down here, and I'm going to create a new document. I'm going to call it The Twist Ukulele Play Along. And then I'm going to create the project. Now there's nothing in there. I'm going to go up here to my sources. I'm going to go to Twisted Wave Mobile, and I'm going to choose the twist. There it is. That's the change pitch one. And I'm actually going to drop this in here at about 11 seconds. And that's just kind of how that came along with a little bit of practice, because I like having some intro material first. Now this is the audio line, and they're in Luma Fusion, maybe 12 seconds. It's probably a good spot. I'll show you one in a second. But Luma Fusion has up to 3 bands of audio and 3 bands of video that you can drop in. So my first band of video is going to be imported again from iCab Mobile. And I'm going to choose Ice Cream. I just have to find it. I've been working on a lot of videos, so I have a lot of source materials here that I have not yet deleted. There it is, Chocolate Serve Ice Cream Cone. I'm going to take that, and drop that in the main video feed. And if you look, if I make that smaller, there's a lot more time to do there. So sometimes it helps to compress your timeline so that you can stretch something out far enough. I can edit that later. And now what I'm going to do is put in some other materials. So I'm going to go up to iCab Mobile, up here to the top, and choose titles. Now, one of the cool things about iCab Mobile is one of the cool things about Luma Fusion is it allows you to do titles with multiple things, and then you can save those as a preset. So once you find something you like, when you're in the title editor, you just save it. So for this one, I'm going to use a white title, and I'm going to drop it in right there. And we're going to lose a little bit, and actually that was the wrong title. I want the actual uke play along title right here. And I'll show you how we can edit this too. But anyhow, I'm going to go in here and I can edit that title screen, and it's going to be the twist. How did I do this? Well, I did it once, found out that I liked it, and I created that. So it says the twist ukulele play along, and then on the bottom here, as performed by Chubby Checker. Got to put the capital C in there. And the key of this one is going to be in the key of F. Now, if you notice, this is a problem because it's hardly visible. So one of the things that I can do is add another object, like a shape, and it defaults to a box. But I can change that face color to a different color, like black, like that, and then change the opacity so that things kind of show through. And then whatever order in is the order that it appears. And once I have something created, I can clone it, and then I can move it and adjust the width and the length like that, and then finally bring it above the text. So here we go, the twist ukulele play along. Now here's another secret. First of all, I like to have these be about 5 seconds long, each of these intro things. And I suppose there's a place in the settings that I could change that. But if you noticed, I can squeeze or pinch the timeline together. I like to see the full second and pull it out as far as I can until it pops up with another sub. And when I'm creating a title or whatever, if the beat happens here, I want it to be one of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it's like a fifth between a minute, I like to leave it 1/5 of a gap before the next note, and I'll show you that in just a second. So, but here's the next thing I'm going to do. I really don't want the rest of my song with that ice cream being so forefront. I mean, it's there for the beginning. I want it to be hinted at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double tap on that, and this is where you can do, I'm trying to remember what the word is, something about key. It's not keynote. Key mapping, I can't remember the specific terminology for it, but you can actually, during the length of that clip, you can tell an image to do things like rotate here, rotate there. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just going to go to the effects, and one of the effects that I really like is up here on the third one, and call it like Gaussian, like this, and just kind of make it a blur, and then you can see how far you should go before it has too little or too much distraction. And realistically, that's probably pretty good. Maybe even this one that was there first. I don't know. And I can always go back and change that. But if you notice, I put a split in by touching on either side of where the cursor was, and then that's there. Then what I can do is go in here and start adding the next things. Now, even though this was white, at this point, I think a black font is going to work better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make those end at the same time. Oh, and one other little trick that I've learned is that transitions, if I do this particular transition later, it causes some issues with timing. So I use a cross dissolve when I change it down like this, and I make that cross dissolve 1.0. I've got it set so that all transitions kind of default at like 0.15, which is like a half of a second. This is a 1 second fade where it goes blurry. And up here on the top, it'll fade in a second using a dip. It'll go down and back up with the chords you need to use. So let's do that next. I'm going to go over here to Fonts, Titles, and I'm going to go to Chords to Use, Black. I've already created that description. And there we go. And that's how it's going to look when it's done. Now that I see this, possibly there's an issue and I might need to do something else because that's a little dark on the sides. So in this, I can also do something like bring up some more highlights and see what else I can do to make that a little brighter, if there's anything I can do. Don't know if there's something I'm going to like or not, but we'll see. Because that gets a little dark in that corner over there. There you go. Shadow up, I think, is going to do it. So those two together is now people should be able to see those chords and the lyrics. All right. So again, this one I want usually to be a full 5 seconds or so. So I'll move my cursor over here. Boom, boom, boom. And then I'm going to put in the chords I need to know. Now, this is where that chordette font I have access to, and I've already laid it out. But the chords I'm going to need are F, and I just happen to know where they are. F, B flat, and C7. And I just have memorized where those locations are on the keyboard. And so that's ready to go. Chords you'll need to use. So let's see how that looks. There we go. The next thing that we're going to do is put in lyrics. But if we listen to it, there's a little intro. And how far is intro? Now I like to give it a second of starting before the music really starts. So let's see what happens here. Now there's your first downbeat. Come on, baby. There it is. So in this first one, what I do is I have a thing, again, a preset here that I've already created of chords, lyrics and chords in black. I'm going to choose this, and I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to change the text to "Come on, baby." And then because it's the beginning of the song and it doesn't start right away, I may also do something like this on a song like this. Come on, baby. And actually, we don't even necessarily need the baby in there because the baby is a downbeat of the next one, right? So I'm going to go up here and put in this and say intro, because that's what it is, intro. I'm going to say done. And then because it's messed up there, if I make it centered, it's all going to go in there. And I actually like doing one more thing. If I do something like intro, I want there to be some space there. And now we have that. Now, chords. When I made this original template, I put this sequence of chords. It's one text box. I didn't center it. So since then, I try to make sure that I center it first. And the chords that are playing there are C7, B flat, and then F. Then there's this little next, and sometimes it helps to select it here first. And if you look, it makes it really big once it's cut and pasted like that from its original. I'm going to put the next in there, and then I'm going to select this one, another situation where it's huge. And then I'm going to drop that one in there. If I double click on that, I can change it because the next chord after that is going to be an F. And let's hear the sounds. Now I know that this needs to be longer yet, right? Now, I just roughly stop it where I hear it stop, and now I'm going to try to make this end, basically, if you noticed from where I push stop, 1/5 of a second, so it looks like about that far away from the next one. That's what I've learned after doing practice for timing for the next chord to appear. Some people making ukulele video play-alongs where the cursor doesn't match, and that kind of defeats the purpose. The cursor has to match. So next thing, we need a bouncing ball. Now sometimes I use an emoji, and actually I'll be needing this emoji at various times today to do things. And with an emoji, I can just go in here into the keyboard and I can choose an emoji. Now let's see what they have. Do they have an ice cream cone? I mean, there's some foods in here, and sometimes I use those too, and I'm looking for an ice cream. It's not a twist cone. Those emojis aren't going to work for us right now, and I was just showing you how I would do that, but I don't need that, so I'm just going to pull it off. But I already have an existing twisty cone, so I'm going to go into my downloads again, imported. I'm going to go back into iCab Mobile, and under twisty cone, I have my twisty cone. Let's find it. There's my twin twist right there. And I know he's going to start somewhere here because you can actually see the downbeat after the drum. It's right here. So somewhere about there, sticking over where that occurs, is where it's going to start. But look at that. It's too big. Well, what do? This is where it kind of gets fun. With Luma Fusion, I can adjust the size to make it smaller. And I got to make it small enough that I can fit words above it. And then these positions, Y and X, and just kind of aiming where that needs to go, like this. And then all I need to do is push play and find out where it needs to stop. There it is, there's a change. Now what do? There's no cut and paste yet in Luma Fusion. When that comes, this is going to make this much easier. I hit clone. When I hit clone, now all I have to do is change position X, because I've already got it. Okay, like that. And that's really close to where it needs to be. I don't have to do too much to it. And there it goes. So here it comes. Alright, and we knew that I'd already set that up for where it needs to go. Alright, so when I click out, look what happens now if I push play. Watch up here. And I would do that for the rest of the song. Now, the last thing that you need to do is to put in transitions after you've made your whole song. Now, by the way, if I have this same section, what I can do is I can select this and hit clone. It'll drop in on that track later on. Or if I have the same sequence, I can clone that one, scroll it back, clone that one, and reproduce that process for the whole song if I need to. But with transitions, what I like to use is dips. That looks best to me when I'm doing this, and maybe that's because that's what iMovie did and Dr. Reese's videos did. But I'm going to drop that in. This is the only one I'm going to stretch out so that it matches this transition underneath it. But now watch what happens when it goes. One fades out, the picture blurs as the chords you need to use come in, and then at this point I just drop in these dips. And this is a lot of dragging, and in the future, hopefully, Luma Fusion will add the ability to, just either when you drop in the picture, it sets up that it does that with a particular transition, which you can always change. Now, a beginning transition is the only one I change, is because if you notice, really these fade-ins are only like 8.08 seconds long, so I make these actually 0.07. For some reason that seems to work. Okay, and then instead of just appearing, it actually fades in, and then the rest of them become dips. Now, as a recommendation, don't put these transitions in until the end of the song. Number one, you never know if you actually kind of hear things wrong, you need to go back, and if you do, you have to delete that dip. What you do is you select it, and then you hit over here and you hit delete. And then also I found out that if there's a transition here, when you clone it, it actually doesn't clone this length specifically. It usually comes in longer. I don't know why. That seems to be a bug. I've let the company know. But then putting those transitions in. And then I also put in a final transition over the last parts of the song. And I'll just do that here, and I'll scroll all the way down here to the, sorry about hitting the microphone, to about here. Usually I'd stop a song about here. So I'm just going to, again, you see me split those. I just take two fingers like that and split on each side. And then I can just drag up and delete those things. But I usually put a dip at the end, which is kind of like a fade to black. And again, I'm going to grab this one here. I'll just do this here as an example, and I usually make that, again, 1 whole second out. So the song ends, and I'll do that over here, and I'd also do it with the text box. At the final text box, I usually use a stop sign as well to let the player know that it's over. And I'll just show you what this looks like here. And there it goes. Now, the final step after you've got the whole video done, if you notice, I still have 2 minutes and something to do, which is probably about an hour's work for me, but it's fun thinking about the chords and playing with the technology for me, so this is not stressful. This is actually a de-stressor for me. But when I'm all done, what I can do is up here, I can export out the movie and send it as YouTube right from the app. And in that case, I usually also, I just leave these as defaults. And then, I didn't want to do that, but that's okay. And then in here, film and the category, I just make education, and I leave it private until later I can go and add the metadata that I want to on that. Also, one other little cool thing that this does is it allows me to export a snapshot, so that when I have a custom screenshot for the video, which I've done with all my videos. So for example, if you download the video, it shows this image instead of just some part of the video. Really cool part. That is doable also on Luma Fusion. So this video will be available later, but if you noticed, all those steps is a little bit of work, yeah, but the hope is that not only I'm using it, but other people are using it. And I try to do a combination of songs like this that are rather, less challenging. However, that B flat chord will cause a lot of players a lot of grief. It's not a terrible chord as terrible chords go, but it's still not the easiest chord to play. So this is, again, creating a video with Luma Fusion from the very, very start. The fact that you, again, need to have any font installed on your iPad to use those ukulele chords. You have to have bought Chordette to do that. That's also true. You should have had bought Luma Fusion, and I also strongly suggest iCab Mobile for its flexibility as a browser, particularly with this tool.